You're here with me this morning. Woohoo! How many of you have bared the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning? I am so thrilled to be here. And in today's live, I'll show you how to create a time budget for your work and home life in order to prioritize in a way that doesn't feel like a chore. And we don't want any chores, right? I'll cover how you can set a realistic schedule and bring harmony into your life. Remember, this month is all about time management and love. All right. So just stay tuned and I'll be back to you in a few seconds. See you on the other side. Hey, welcome back to Monday Mastery Moments with Michelle live, where busy moms who find themselves mid career, solopreneurs, mompreneurs, whatever you want to call it, they can get a tangible way or tangible ways to enjoy the success without the sacrifice. I'm live 4 Mondays a month at 6 a.m. just to be with you before you get started and everything starts going on in your life. And you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I'm here to give you your wake up call. So, how are you this morning? Let me see who's out there. I'm excited to be here this morning. If you're out there, let me know your name, where you're from, and if you're watching this on the replay, make sure you do hashtag replay. So make sure you follow me on your platform of choice, wherever you are, so you don't miss an episode. And me, well, you're probably saying, who is this? I'm Michelle O'Neill, your boundary strategies and life management coach. And I love a great conversation. So why don't you just grab a cup of coffee, tea, or whatever your warm beverage of choice is and settle in so we can just hop right on into today's mastery moment. So I'm going to share with you 3 ways that you can start integrating your time between work and home. And especially now with still fighting those challenges of COVID, a lot of us are still at home. You're working from home, you're doing things from home, you're not going out to an office. So you have to integrate both what goes on in your home and your workplace. And how do you do that? So, we're going to talk about 3 ways that you could do that today. One, we're going to talk about what is a budget? What is a time budget? What exactly is this thing? Number two, how to integrate work and home. And number three, the benefits of a time budget. Why do we want a budget anyway? Well, if you have a financial budget, you know why you need a time budget. So, let me remember, I have a question for you. First of all, and I'd love to see your answer in the comments below. So I'll be checking in back and forth with that, but I'll also be checking after this and for those who are doing the replay. So make sure you do again hashtag replay and go ahead and answer this question. How many of you do a little bit of time management? Even a little bit. And what is your method of choice? How do you manage your time? Is it your to do list? Is it that you put everything on your calendar? Is it, oh, whatever happens, whatever that fire is for the day? What is it? And how do you manage your time? So, we're going to start with the first one. Let me get this up. So, again, I'd love to see where you're from. And let's see. So, number one, we're going to talk about, well, what is a budget? What exactly is this budget thing? So we're going to see. Here we go. What is a budget and what is a time budget? So, actually, if you know anything about finances, you know that there are actually 4 phases to a budget cycle. And number one is budget preparation. And what that is that's when you actually create the budget. That's when you sit down and figure out, okay, where am I spending my money? What's in my bank account? And you start looking at what you have and where you're giving out, where you're spending these things. This is how your income or your time is needed, where you need to put. We have to pay the bills, we have to pay school activities, we have to pay for lunch every day, we have to pay gas to get back and forth to work, whatever your expenses are. So we look at your expenses and your income, right? And well, we do that same thing with time, and we'll get more into that in a minute. And then we want to know what new initiatives can be started or could be considered. Where are things that I can pull back? What are things that I can start doing to help me save money? What are things that I can start doing to help me make more money? Well, those same things apply to time, right? And then we're going to look at number two. The stage number two is budget authorization. So you're like, what do you mean? It's my budget. Why do I need it authorized? Well, this is we don't live in a vacuum, right? And so sometimes it's just good, the right people to kind of get their input on things, have a trusted person look at it before you stamp your approval. Am I forgetting any things? One of the things that my husband and I always do is he'll ask me, is there anything that I'm forgetting that you're spending money on? Because and I'll say, yes is this, and the same back and forth. So sometimes someone can sit there with you and say, okay, did you think about this? um are you going to Starbucks every day? Are you getting coffee there? um are you stopping to get any treats, any sweets? What are your habits, and what are you doing to spend that money? What things are you not even thinking about that you spent money on? Because there's a lot of times we do things we don't. Well, the same thing applies to your time. So that's the second one. Now the third one is budget execution. Ah, duh. So all you have to do is wonder now, okay, here's my budget. Where am I? And let me check in. Okay, here's my budget. Okay, how can I implement it? What are the things that I can do to implement my time? So we start looking at it, start really looking at how we're using our budget. Okay, and actually recording it, right? So we record, okay, I spent money on this. I just went out and ate. I spent this much money. So I spent this much time. We start watching our time and really being aware of what's going on. And we test it. We find out that we spend more on food than we thought, or we go out a lot and eat more out, or we're buying more clothes than we thought, or we're spending more time on gas because we're out more than we thought, right? So I'm always saying right, huh? But anyway, so with that said, you test it and you find out what you can change, what things that you don't need as much as you thought, or things that you can let go away. So that is execution. And then once we've done that for a while, then we start looking at the accountability. Am I writing everything down? Am I making sure I track everything? And that's where we tweak and we adjust and we fine tune this budget when we start really checking in on ourselves, and then we make the changes that need to make changes, and we have checks and balances. So that's back to that what did I say? Number 2, authorization. We check back in with that person, and we check with our bank account, and we check what our what's left, and we start really tweaking it. So now that you have an understanding of a budget, and I'm sure you already knew what a budget was, now we're going to talk about our time budget. What exactly are the steps to our time budget? And we have to think about, first of all, just like your regular budget, you have to think about the things that really matter to you. What things that are so important to you that you can't let go. You know, kind of like food. you need food, and time that you allocate to those things to prevent wasted time on things that don't matter to you. So, if getting up and having your meditation first thing in the morning is so important because you know when you do that, that you've prepared yourself for your day, that you're raring and ready to handle anything that goes on. Well, ask yourself, how much time do I need for that? What a good grounding for the day, I need an hour. So then you ask yourself, okay, am I going to get up earlier, or I'm just going to start then but know that everything else has to shift? Or what things can I shift? If you know that you take a long time in the shower, then how much time are you going to allow for getting ready? Me? Oh, I allow an hour. And usually I only take 45 minutes, but I allow an hour because I know that sometimes you want to just stand under that shower and just feel that hot water pulsating on your back. Or sometimes it's going to take you longer, or sometimes whatever, but you allow the time and always factor in some little extra time just in case something doesn't go as you plan. And like I said, with my time in the morning of getting ready, I allow 15 more minutes. 15 more minutes just to give me that playtime, right? So then you want to make your decision process easier. So one of the ways to do that is have a quick overview of your working time budget. Just look over it. Okay, these are the things for me. I have a calendar. And so I look first of all, like last night, I looked, what do I have coming up this week? And so I know the particular things that I have coming up, things that have to be completed by one day or whatever day, because I'm all about, I don't want to know necessarily the time, but I want to know when it has to be done. I like my drop dead time or my time that it's needed. And then I plan my week accordingly. And I understand how I have to spread things out because I don't want to wait to the last minute and try to get everything done. So you want to organize your budget, first of all, around the key areas that you want to get results in. So if work is important to you, you want to organize your budget around work. If making sure that all the chores and stuff are done at home, you want to organize it around that. If spending time with your family, with your husband, with your kids is important, you want to budget time around that. And then we always have to eat. So, how are you going to factor in cooking? Because cooking takes time, or preparing dinner takes time. Are you going to incorporate other people? So, you want to look at the key areas that you want results in. And it's not about your day to day tasks. No, we're not saying, okay, every day I need to do this or this, but we want to know what buckets that it goes in. Okay, there's a work bucket, there's the food prep and eating budget. There's the food budget, and then there's the time spent budget. There's the husband and wife budget, and there's the kids budget. And who out of that is going to get the most time? And when you're going to tell one that it's not your time, it's this person's time. And then work budget. We spend most of us between 8 and 10 hours a day away from home or working. And so, how are we going to factor that in and still have time for the other things that matter to us? And then we're going to focus on those areas that are important. And we're going to allocate time for each one of those areas, just like you do in your budget. You allocate money for each bucket. We're going to allocate time for each bucket. So just like I talked about in the morning, I know that I need an hour. So actually, I have two 2 hours of prep time that I need first thing in the morning. I need my time to prepare myself for the day, and I need my time to get ready. And so I factor that in, whether it's getting up earlier, going to bed earlier, whatever it is, I factor those two important things because they're important to me to be able to feel the other buckets. I need those times for myself. And those are the things we have to look up. If we want to show up best, we want to make sure that we give the time to do the thing so that we can show up best. So we want to allocate the time for each one of those areas that are important. And we want to allow time to spend in each one of those areas. So, realistically, look, and you're going to tweak this and fix this, but realistically, look at the time that you're going to need. How much time does it take you to cook that day and do those small chores around the house? How much time does it take? Does it take an hour to cook? I love HelloFresh. Okay. So, this is my ad. I love HelloFresh, and I know most of their menus, most of their dinners take about 30 minutes, or at least that's what they're said. But for me, it takes about 45 minutes sometimes. So I know this. So I allocate that time in my day. I know that and I also use that time to do other things. So while I'm cooking, I talk to mom. I spend time talking to mom. So I've utilized that time budget well, and you're going to track the time that you spend. That's the other thing. Because how do you know where you're losing time if you're not tracking time? How do you know where you're spending money if you're not tracking where you're spending that money? And you're going to, what I call the 3 R's, you're going to review, rinse, and revise. Okay, what did I do that worked? What didn't work? What can I change? And you revise it. And this is a living document. You're going to use this document and change it over and over. It's going to constantly be tweaked. Okay, so now the other thing is, great, we got this budget, this working document. So now, how to integrate this both in my work and my home? So, like I said, with COVID, we're working more from home, a lot of us. And it can be hard to manage both in the same space if you don't have a plan, because there are things that are going to call for your attention that never called for your attention before, like the kids, like the husband, like going downstairs and getting something, or going upstairs and getting something to drink or eat that's going to take you longer, because as you're there, you start seeing that the dishes need to be put away. So I can do that while I'm here, which takes time. And then you need to get back up or back over there to working, back sitting at your desk or whatever, sitting at the kitchen table, wherever you are. So you're easily distracted. But then there's also times that you have a better focus. So you need to stop thinking of these spaces as separate entities, because they really aren't. They're your life. And because right now you're in a space where they're integrated, you have to learn, or we want to learn. I'm not going to preach to you here, but we want to learn how we can integrate them better. So, what's more important at that time? If work is more important and taking care of that project and getting it done so you can spend more time with the family and the husband and the kids, if that's what's important now during these hours, then you allocate those hours for that, and you let everybody else know. Is your career important? Is that promotion important? Is church important? Whatever those important areas of your life is, you have to determine, or you want to determine, not have to. You want to determine, how can I best integrate them? And then you need to look, or you want to look at your obligations. I always say need, but I want to say want. It's something that you want to do. So you want to look at your obligations. How many hours are dedicated to your work? If you're um, obligated to 8 hours of day for work, then let those hours be obligated. How are you going to use those that you are most dialed into your work? Now, don't beat yourself up if you don't spend every working minute working. But remember this: when you were at the office, did you not go to the bathroom? Did you not talk to your coworkers? Did you not run to wherever and get you a cup of coffee? there was time that you were not actually working? Did you take a break every 15 minutes? So don't beat yourself up if you're still sitting there and that you need to sit there and 100% focus on work. And you'll find out that when you allocate time, you will get more done. So look at your commitments promised. What are the things that you promised that you would get done that day? And look at your marriage. What are the important things that you know that you need to do to make sure that you nurture and build up your marriage? Does your husband need time? Or is this a conversation that you can talk about and when times the ebb and flow of life? Right now, I have to spend more time on this so that we can have more time on that later. So look at that. And your kids, where do they need you most? Where do they need your time? When do they need your time, or when are they just sucking your time? And they do that. There are times that they want mom all the time. But do they need mom all the time? Or are they just bored and they want you to fill that space? What's more pressing? What's urgent? And what's the emergency? What's urgent but can wait till later? And what's urgent that needs to be taken care now? So then look at where can you be flexible? And we're always what's project specific? What projects are you working on? And plan them out. What time of day? Look at yourself at what time of day are you better working on some things than other? And then how do they say, budget accordingly. And then what are expectations that you put on yourself that are unrealistic? No, you cannot do it all, but you can do all that matters. So determine what really matters. What matters that you get done today? What matters that you get done this week? What matters that you get done this year? But everything doesn't need to be budgeted for right now. It's like if you have a plan that you have, like I talked about earlier, that you need to get something done this week, how can I plan it out that I get a little bit of it done each day? So look at your expectations that you put on yourself and what can you let go? And yes, there are things that you can let go. You know, are you holding on to those things because they're habits, just things that you've always done? Or is there a real desire to get that done? If you don't like cooking, why are you doing? Okay, people got to eat. But there are other ways or other people that can you can delegate that to, or maybe plan like a whole day of cooking so you don't have to cook the rest of the week. Whatever it is it a habit or a real desire? Are you holding on to it because it's a sense of duty? It's what I've always done. It's what's expected of me to done. And I feel that to be a good mother, to be a good wife, to be a good coworker, to be a good boss, to be a good business owner, I have to do these. Do you? Or is it an unrealistic expectation? And then what season are you in life? Is this a season that's no longer needed? Your kids are no longer young. They don't need all your time. In fact, most of the time they want to be with their friends, or your kids are gone and out of the house, and yet they're still calling you all the time. Set the times when you're gonna, hey, I'll be available during this time. I'm at work at this time. I'm working on this at this time. So we'll talk this time. So is that season still needed? Are you still needed to the capacity that you were needed then? Or is that season gone? Have you moved into the next season? And let me help you figure that out. And then can it be delegated? Remember, I asked this. You have a whole team here, and you're always hearing me talk about your P teams, your personal and your professional teams. Can you delegate it to someone in your team? You don't have to do it all, right? Okay. And then what can wait until tomorrow? I said that a little earlier. What can you do tomorrow? Is it important but not urgent? Remember, I said important. And there are a lot of things that are important in our lives, but are they urgent? Are they just a like to have? I would love to be able to complete this today so I don't have to worry about it the rest of the week. I'd love to get ahead of the game, but we can't always get ahead of the game. And nothing is earth shattering. Well, some things. Sometimes there is emergencies that are urgent, but most things aren't earth shattering. And then finally, we're going to talk about the benefits of our time budget. You know, what's the benefit? Why do I want a time budget? Well, it's because it saves time. And according to one recent study that I read in England and in New Zealand, on an average, get this, on an average, we waste 2 hours and 20 minutes a day on tasks that are not relevant to our key priorities. They're things that just take us down that rabbit hole that aren't really important, but that we get sucked into. 2 hours and 20 minutes that we could be using to get something done that we really want to get done. And also that we waste 2 hours and 11 minutes just on procrastinating, finding ways that we don't complete a task because we really don't want to tackle it. 2 hours and 11 minutes. And then the other thing that's great about a time budget is it saves money. As an employer, Harvard University did a study that found that American companies lose approximately $65 billion. $65 billion on wasted time. And so if we learn to budget our time, imagine what we gain. And I'm not just talking about money. You know, when I go shopping, I'm always thinking about a shopping list. My husband and I, we have a shared shopping list on our phones that whenever we think of something, we put on that list so that when we go in the store, we're not aimlessly walking down the aisles trying to figure out what we forgot or what we need to get. What can you put on a list so that you're not wasting time doing it? And then it's an intentional action. When I walk into a store, when I go shopping, and I'm not a great shopper, and I'm not talking food, I mean shopping for myself for clothes, I go in with intention. I know what color I'm looking for. I know what item of clothing that I'm looking for. And when I go into that store, I stand outside right up front and I see if they have those colors in the store. If not, I don't even go in. And if they do, I go in and I look for that specific item. Okay, maybe I'm not a fun shopper to take around, but I go in store with intentional action because I know that my time is valuable. And then it saves losing your mind. We spend hours putting out fires at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, we're no closer to actually reaching our long term goals because we're allowing others to pull us away from the things that are important. We're allowing ourselves to be sucked down that rabbit hole. You know how you get on Google, right? And you're looking at Google and you're looking. One of my favorite things is I love looking up words because there's something I want to say for you. So I'm looking for this particular word and I type in and it shows me the definition. So I read the definition and then I want to know other words. So I look at the thesaurus to look at other ways that I can use this word or other words that I can use to say things like magnificent, wonderful. What are other words that that edify the feeling that I want to portray in that word? And so sometimes I can spend 15, 20 minutes really diving into this one word. So I have to pull myself back. Okay, I found the one word that I needed. I understand the meaning. And all I need is to look at one or two. Click. I put it down. I click that X because I don't want to get sucked down that rabbit hole because it when we get sucked down, it's costly. When we get sucked down that rabbit hole, it's costly and emotionally draining, especially when we're spending our time putting out fires. It's a draining way to spend our time. The other way that it's a benefit is Your time budget is easy to use, and you can keep it right there. It can be part of your planner. It can be in front of you on your desk to remember the things. And after a while, it just becomes habit. It's personal and specific to what you need to do in your life and your desires. But most of all, it requires a commitment. When you create your time budget, you have to decide that it's something that I really want to do because it's important to how I want to live my life and how I integrate my work and my home together, because you can do them as long as you know what's most important. And having this time budget is beneficial to all that are in your life. 7 and 8 hours each night. If I could just sleep those times, I'm happier and more productive, and I produce better results. So it is so important for me that I know that I get 7 or 8 hours a night. And if that means getting to bed earlier and not doing things that I want to do, not watching the show that I want to watch, not being on the phone talking to someone that I want to talk to. If I know that I have to allocate my time better during the day so that I can get those hours of sleep I need, so that I can be better for those that are around me, then I budget it into my time budget. So that's what I want you to share with you this week. Again, remember Monday mornings, 6 a.m. Every Monday morning, I'm here to encourage you and lift you up for your day. Look, I'm so thrilled that you were here with me today. And I want to tell you about my flagship program that's starting actually today is the prep work. But we start and really dive in on the 14th of February. This is your last chance to actually sign up for it because I want you to be there for the prep work. I'll be supporting you in creating tangible ways. Remember, I'm all about tangible solutions to foster balance and control in your life that you want to foster. Help you create that time budget, and it's called the Run Your Life Mastery Experience. I want you to master how to start running your life in a way that you feel that you're running your life and your life is not running you. And I'm happy to relay that I only have 2 slots left, 2 spaces available, and I want you to be in it. So go ahead, hop on over to meet.michelleo'neil.com/, and let me see if I can get this up here. Let's see. Meet.michelleo'neil.com/, experience. Okay. There you go. And look, I said, I am so thrilled that you were here with me today and that you were able to hang out for your Monday morning chat. I hope I woke you up. You are amazing. Go into your day living that, knowing that, believing that you are amazing. And I hope you enjoyed this live. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit subscribe, follow, sign up, whatever it is, register so you won't miss a single episode. And I want to see you in the morning. Know that you're there. Want to know what I'm up to? Well, if you do, go ahead and go to meet.michelleo'neil.com. Everything I'm doing is there on that platform. And I have a special gift for you. So let me know how I can serve you better, how I can serve you fully and support you further so that you can master every day like it's your Monday. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy your day. Take care. Bye bye.